Have you ever wondered what makes a musician not just good, but great? Well, today, we're diving into a music curriculum that's built on a really powerful idea, that being a true musician is about two sides of the same coin, the hands-on act of creating music and the journey of exploring it. Let's see how it all fits together.
So let's start with a big question. What's the real difference between just playing an instrument and truly speaking the language of music? It's kind of like the difference between just reading someone else's words out loud and actually telling your own story. This whole explainer is really about how you find that unique musical voice.
So where do we even begin? Well, the first half of this whole approach is all about action. It's a space called the Create Zone, and this is where students stop being just learners and really start becoming creators.
The main goal here is to help students cultivate what's called a unique musical voice. But what does that really mean? It's not just about hitting all the right notes. The secret sauce, as you can see in the definition, is in the personal style and the creative choices that make your music sound like you. So how do you actually build that voice? Well, it comes down to getting your hands dirty. In the Create Zone, students are actively making music. They're building rhythms, they're putting together chords, and they're learning to sing with foundational tools like tonic solfa. They even get to take existing songs and totally reinterpret them, using them as a launchpad for their own new stuff.
And the philosophy here is summed up perfectly by its symbol, a conductor's baton. It's all about ownership, right? It's about giving students the power to be the director of their own musical ideas, to bring them to life. They go from being just a player to being a composer.
At the end of the day, the goal is to develop what educators call student agency. And all that means is shifting from just passively taking in information to actively making your own stuff. It gives students the confidence to make their own musical decisions.
Okay, so if creating is one half of the puzzle, what's the other? Well, that brings us to the second big idea, the Explore Zone. And they frame this as a real, genuine musical adventure.
I love this metaphor they use. The world is a soundstage. In this zone, students aren't just students anymore. They become musical adventurers. They're not just learning how the music is made, they're digging deep to find out the why behind it all.
And the foundation for this whole adventure is something called inquiry-based learning. So instead of just being fed a bunch of facts, students are encouraged to be little detectives, to investigate questions, solve musical problems, and become researchers in their own right. It really builds that critical thinking muscle.
A huge part of this is moving away from a view that's only focused on Western music. It's all about fostering respect for traditions from all over the world. So for example, a student might learn about thoughts, which are part of Indian classical music, and that sparks their curiosity to go research the sitar and understand its unique story and cultural context.
And again, the symbol here just says it all. Wide eyes and a quill. It's this perfect image of a journey, of discovering musical stories from every corner of the globe, writing them down, and then sharing them with others. The student really becomes a musical storyteller. Okay, so we've got these two powerful zones, create and explore. But the real magic, the secret sauce, happens when you see how they work together. This is where discovery truly fuels creation. It really boils down to this simple, powerful relationship. The Create Zone is the action of making music. The Explore Zone provides the inspiration for making that music. You can't really have one without the other. They're totally intertwined.
Let's make this super clear. Here's a real-world example of how it works. First, a student explores. They might learn about the Romanesca, which is this old harmonic progression you hear in famous pieces like Pachelbel's Canon. Then they jump over to the Create Zone, and they take that exact same progression and use it to improvise a brand new pop melody. See that? The knowledge literally becomes new art. And this blend of skills is woven through everything they do. You can see how an activity in the Create Zone, like composing a short piece, is balanced by an activity in the Explore Zone, like researching a composer. It's this constant, awesome dance between analyzing and creating.
So when you put this all together, what do you get? What's the end result of this integrated approach? Well, it's about building way more than just a skilled player. It's about shaping a complete musician.
And when you combine that action with that inspiration, you see these incredible outcomes. Their agency, that ability to act on their own, is super high. Their personal musical identity becomes really strong. And of course, as a result, their confidence just skyrockets because they start seeing themselves as real musicians.
And look, this isn't just theory. There's this really powerful quote from a mother talking about her daughter, Gracie.
She says that creating her own music allows her to feel free to express herself, express her emotions, and share what makes her happy with others. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? That's the real impact.
And all of this leaves us with a final, really powerful thought. If we teach students not just to play music, but to create it, to understand where it comes from, and to find their own voice, just imagine what kind of incredible new worlds they'll compose. What new stories will they have to tell?